Hey guys, it's TRIZE here, back with Automation, the car company Tycoon game, and what you're seeing right now is one of my latest builds called the Dracus Polar LS V6. This is a premium sedan with modest styling inside and out with a decent, reliable engine. Also about this vehicle, I've taken the time to record the engine using my own car and implement them to this car. I used my 2000 Chrysler Cirrus LXI and took it to a nearby shopping mall in an empty parking lot to record all the sounds needed for the Polar. It took me about 5 minutes to get everything I needed, but no engine was harmed during the process of the audio recording. Anyways, I'll explain the details of this car throughout this portion of the video. It has a lap time of 1 minute 39 seconds 27 milliseconds at the quote-unquote Top Gear test track and 2 minutes 42 seconds 36 milliseconds at the automation track. It has a top speed of 141 miles per hour and a 0 to 60 in 10.3 seconds. The vehicle's engine is based on the Mitsubishi 6G73 that produces 168.1 horsepower and 158.5 pounds-feet of torque. It has a fuel efficiency rating of 18.3 miles per gallon and weighs 3,129.9 pounds, which equals to 1,419.7 kilograms. And now, let's go over the specs of this vehicle. In terms of how I made the Polar V6, the panel material we made out of treated steel with a monocoque chassis made out of galvanized steel. With a front transverse engine placement, and the front suspension uses a McPherson strut, and the rear suspension uses a semi-trailing arm suspension. For the engine, it's a V60 V6 engine made out of cast iron with the bore set to 83.5 millimeters and a stroke at 76 millimeters to get the engine size to 2,497 cubic centimeters, or roughly 2.5 liters, which was used on the 6G73 engine right here, with a single overhead cam 4-valve made out of aluminum. For the internals, we do not have a balance shaft, as this is not really required for this type of engine, but we got ourselves a forged steel crankshaft with cast cowl rods and a hyper-utitic cast pistons to cut down on emissions and improve gas mileage by just a smidge. For the compression, it is set at its real-life rating of a 9.4 to 1 ratio, with the cam profile set to a 48 and the springs and lifters up just a tad to a 55. For the fuel system, we're using a multi-point EFI single throttle setup with a standard mid-intake running on regular fuel, with the fuel mixture set to a 14.6, the ignition timing went up just a tad to a 53, and the RPM went set to my real-life rating on the Chrysler Cirrus, and this car included, to a 6,500 RPM. And lastly, for the exhaust, what the hell happened to the headers here? We got nothing going on here. What if I change this to a cast log? Boys, devs, you got a problem up in here. So, short cast header, single exhaust. The exhaust header set to 63.5 millimeters, which equals to 2.5 inches. With a 3-way chaotic converter, no first muffler, but a reverse flow for the second one with a +2 on the quality because, well, we need to try to match that power used in this type of engine. And real briefly, since this engine is modified in BeamNG, I'll give you here at this what it sounds like, and keep this in the back of mind once we drive this car in BeamNG. So give you a listen of the stock automation engine right now. It's like every freaking V6 on here has got that woo, no, like that. But in BeamNG, it's a whole different story. So coming into the second half of this vehicle, our drive type we're going to be using is a front-wheel drive setup with an automatic 4-speed with the top speed set to 141.0 miles per hour. While it can go up to 150 miles an hour, but for a let's just say a premium sedan, yeah. For a premium sedan like this, I think 150 is a little bit too overkill. Unless you're Buick or somebody. For the tires, we're using some hard long life tires with the front and rear tire width set each to 205 millimeters, running on some 16-inch aluminum alloy wheels. And for the brakes, as you can barely see, I'm not going to put this to transparent paint again. So for the front brakes, we got ourselves a solid disc 2 piston, with its size set to 300 millimeters, with a slightly adjusted front brake force to really improve the graph up in here, same thing with the rear. And speaking of the rear, we got ourselves a single piston solid disc brake with its size set to 250 millimeters with the force at a 60%. And aerodynamics, under tray and everything, semi-clad under tray as we can see here. Does this look semi-clad to you or no? And for the interior of the vehicle, so with the interior, I decided to brighten this up quite a bit rather than having like some black and gray and all that interior all cloth. We got some tan interior left and right with the seats, dashboard, trim, and this freaking wannabe wood grain up in here, even though there's no wood grain, so I settled with a carbon fiber texture, a brown carbon fiber texture, to make it have that wood grain feel. So as you can already tell with this tan interior, it's a premium interior with a premium CD player, as you can see right here, right in our face. And with the rest of the vehicle, we got ourselves some hydraulic power steering with ABS brakes and standard issue 1990s standard safety standards. And finally, with this vehicle for the suspension, we got ourselves progressive springs, gas model 2 dampers, and passive sway bars running on a normal preset. Despite the one and only problem according to this game about this vehicle is the low load capacity for this car, let's rightfully ignore that and hop on over to BeamNG.drive and give you here of the modified car engine right now. So here we are at Utah, USA with this vehicle, and really briefly right off the bat, well, unfortunately, the Dracus badge has a no texture up in here. How about for the rims here? No texture, and I believe no texture in the front. Oh, no texture too. How about the steering wheel where it says Dracus on the front? Let me see here. No texture. That sucks. Well, since I already talked about what the vehicle is, with the inside and everything, and goddamn, this leather seats looks all crusty, dude. Well, let's get back to the regular camera right here and give you here what this engine sounds like. Well, first things first is when I start this vehicle up, you get the standard issue automation to BeamNG starter, which I did record this in real life, which I'll give you here what it sounds like if I were to implement the custom starter in the game. So that is the custom starter I did record. I tried coding it in, but unfortunately, we get this. And as you can hear right now, that is the real life, my real car's engine note right now at 700 RPM, which is the lowest I get the audio set to. Since the car idled around like 800 RPM in park, and then just revved it accordingly to every 500 RPM, like whatever, 1,000, 15, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then right at 6,000. That's how I recorded all the sounds for the engine, which I'll rev it up to you right here. So yeah, since we don't have that dreaded V6 sound that automation gives you, we got this sound right here. So right now, let's do our basic performance test with this here vehicle. While doing our performance test, the first one we're doing is a 0 to 62 acceleration test. Second will be a 62 to 0 brake test. And lastly, a top speed run, which this type of vehicle, well, I highly doubt it being a 2.5 liter, making around 160 some horsepower. Just call this a run-of-the-mill passenger car, not a race car. So right now, let's get started with the 0 to 62 test, and also, I'm going to limit my commentary with this portion of the video so you can get a hear of what this engine sounds like. So let's get things started here, right now. So a 0 to 62 in 9.12 seconds of 452.45 feet. Let's get the cruise control back. Oh, good. Put on the cruise control. I don't want to say back in effect. So brake showing 63. It showed 62. So brake hard right now. And the time-wise wasn't pretty. 62 to 0 at 3.15 seconds, 135.44 feet. Time-wise, I'm not a big fan of that. That took quite a while. Normally, for the braking time, is usually like 2.5 seconds, but time-wise, not a big fan of. Distance-wise, seems fairly legit. So for a top speed run, give you here this engine right now, and I'll shut up right here. So not too bad of an exhaust note, so we're making this left-hand corner of 128 miles per hour. I'm surprised we're still going at this speed, so top speed-wise, can we get to the tunnel here? Nope. 135 miles an hour, so that is a close pass, but unfortunately, we haven't made the true top speed of this vehicle. So high to UI, 60 times slow-mo, go. I deadass thought it was gonna like split or something, so there goes all the seats. We got the tire, well, right there, so there goes all the seats of the vehicle, all the dashboard, all the fixes I put in this vehicle. So let's do full time. And there goes all the rest debris still bouncing along as so the engine, unfortunately, is destroyed. And now let's take a brief look of this vehicle. So with the front of the vehicle here is completely mangled up, and we got the engine just bouncing around as so up in here. Hazards are going off because impact detected stopping car, which is not implemented in a 1995 vehicle. Especially in my real-life car, the frickin' Chrysler Cirrus, aka the premium Dodge Stratus and Plymouth Breeze back in the day of the J8 cars made by Chrysler, aka the Cloud cars. So right side's okay, left side you can see the deformities, and the rear side, perfectly fine, not too bad. Alright, so for this portion of the video coming up, we're going to be doing a time trial run at the automation test track of the full racing circuit with this here vehicle. And we're going to be doing 2 laps, and of course, the noon hours like I always do in this game. So take it to the starting line right now. So here we are at the start and finish line with the exhaust big time smoky up in here. Well, it's, now I say smoke it, but it's kind of steamy up in here. But do we have the environmental feature on here, or no? That sucks. I want to see what the temperature is right now, but whatever. We'll probably check that out once we go to free roam after this race. So here we are on the start and finish line. Can't say anything else. And the engine's smoking too? What? Is this like negative 40 degrees out or something? But whatever. Get ready to start this here in 3, 2, 1, go. Poor launch, but why are we smoking? And I do know about the 6G73 used in the Cirrus, the Sebring, the Avenger, and a few handful of other cars, is once you get to the high RPM, like about right around here, is normally you get that like high pitch, like whiny sound once you get around like 6,000 RPM hard on the throttle, like you're doing a 0 to 62 run or something. Okay, hard on the brakes, mediocre on the steering, and wow, the temperature's held up pretty well. 120 degrees in the front, 90s in the back. That is unusual for a vehicle like this. 200, it's almost pushing 300 in the fronts, but seems pretty decent. How will this do on a left-hand corner in typical road tires at 126? Off the throttle? The front-wheel drive drift? Okay, a little bit of oversteer at high speeds, but I don't know if that would really apply to my vehicle in real life because, well, I haven't tried out in real life because I'm not stupid. And this gradual ass corner, are those skid marks for me for the previous times of this course? Because there were skid marks right there in that corner. I don't know if that's just the skid marks because, well, I kept screwing up in the past, or it's just as is. When you load in the map and just drive as so. Well, unfortunately, this car does not swing around in corners. It's got some moderate understeer at slow speeds, but some oversteer at high speeds. Let's see, with these final corners coming up, 80 miles an hour. Wow, that is a considerable amount of understeer into that corner. How about this corner? Get on the driving line, down the apex. A little bit too high up there, so some understeer right there. What else can I complain about this vehicle? It's a premium sedan, not a sports sedan. First lap time is a 2 minutes? Hold on, let me get around this corner, let me read. Yes, so a 2 minutes, 48 seconds, 112 milliseconds is our first lap time. See, oversteer at like medium to just high speeds, but in low speeds, gonna brake hard. It's like you have to get on the accelerator to swing around the corners. If not, then you're really understeering. Well, because one, the big factor is the tires being at regular, hard, long life tires, not like sports compounds or like an adjusted suspension setup. Tires set up to the point where we're just handling a freaking like sports car in this corner, sitting like 1.5 G's or something. Since I don't have the G-force rating right now, I'm thinking the G's per steering is like 0.9 or a single G, which isn't that good. I mean, it's good for a passenger car, but not good for a racetrack. So I've been driving for quite a while, and I'm kind of noticing on how the automatic transmission behaves. Like, once you let go of the gas pedal driving at high speeds, it just upshifts for you to the point where it's saving some fuel economy like you're driving on a highway or something, but this is a whole different environment. We're on a racetrack, we're getting a good time, so why upshift? Why upshift if we're slowing down? Just downshift or just remain the gear as is, which depends on the speed and the RPMs that we're set to. So second lap time, 2 minutes 38 seconds, 706 milliseconds, which gets a total time of 5 minutes 26 seconds, 817 milliseconds. Not too bad. It's get rid of the UI, and camera as is, everything as is, crash these tire barriers. Well, missed that tire barrier wall, and there goes all the debris as so. Wow. Well, let's go to the free roam setting and hide the UI again and not hide it. Well, thanks to this radio menu being in the way. And there goes a tire, bouncing around, flipping around as so. So here is the vehicle. We got the rear of the vehicle, the seats underneath the vehicle. Well, partially underneath the vehicle. So left side, right side of the vehicle. Well, you can see the right side, how it's been damaged in from that impact. And the front of the vehicle, half sprinkled in, half is okay-ish. So last part of the video, let's see if this customized engine sound will prevail at Car Jump Arena. So take you there to the top of the ramp right now. So here we are at the top of the ramp here of Car Jump Arena, and as of right now, we got a 1 light, a 2 light, a 3 light, 4 light, and 5 light. Get ready for the green here right about now. Green light, accelerate down the ramp as we go slowly, really slowly, and wheel spin right there. 0 to 62 in 6.23 seconds and 218.03 feet. And not only that, we got the top speed. I don't know if it's how the red line of this engine behaves. Was gonna front end crash, end over end, no slow motion needed, no extra cameras. Rolled over as so. This is some insane crash we got here for the first time in quite a while at Car Jump Arena. And we 50-50 grind into the pool of water. Engine started with oil. Let's save the engine. So yeah, that was an interesting crash that we had going. So let's get this car back on tarmac. Let's slowly bring this over. We'll yo-yo this and... perfect. Oh, on 4 wheels and like dead straight ahead to this road. Wow. I think I'm an expert at node grabbing and everything. So let's drop the engine. Vroom. It sucks I couldn't program this correctly, which I think it is impossible to program your own starter sounds despite having your own. So with this vehicle, the ABS light is going mental. The rear of the vehicle is messed up. The right side of the vehicle kind of messed up, well, except for the tire, the extreme camber going on here. The front tire is missing. For the front right, left sides are okay. Front end, definitely. So for the final part of the video, as I'm going down, as me saying this, as we go to second gear, is to get a high-speed crash test going at the final bridge pillar just up ahead. So here we are going over 120 miles an hour. Let's hop the curb slowly. Curb has been hopped, a little bit of oversteer, a little bit of winging it. We got top speed right on the mark, so it's going to be an awkward crash at an awkward-ish angle. So can we get the funny camera, or now let's do the traditional camera. Go here. Reset the OBB just a tad, hide the UI, and go all the way down to 100 times slow-mo and resume the physics. So here we go. Front of the vehicle, and it's collided to the bridge pillar. There goes the tires. Goes the front passenger seats collapsing backwards, and the rear passenger seats, they're holding up. They're holding up pretty good, but we got the front passenger seats, both front passenger seats have ejected. So 6 times slow-mo. There goes the wheel, the dashboard, the gauge cluster thingamajig and everything. So full time. And there is a lot of debris. Even the gauge cluster, like the speedometer reading, everything's collapsed right here. Everything is collapsed. And that's the steering wheel. Yep, there's a steering wheel just bouncing along. And it came to a rest. That's cool. So, wow. All of this debris, after putting work in this car for like 3 to 4 hours and about an hour of recording. Not like recording, but mastering the audio to place this in this vehicle. So regular cam, brief look at the vehicle. We got some sharp, loose polygons all over the place with the front right portion of the vehicle, making this a deadly weapon if you step foot on here. And yes, as the front, completely destroyed, and of course the engine is also destroyed. That side's semi-destroyed, rear, unscathed, and left side, same thing with like the front portion, semi-destroyed, not destroyed in this portion of the vehicle. And that is it with this vehicle, unfortunately. So that'll do it with automation and BeamNG.drive with the Dracus Polar LS V6. I'm quite happy with the results of how this vehicle came out in terms of the audio, the engine recording, but on the high ends and everything, it is a little bit choppy and sounds like it's on like repeat, like A and B repeat over like 1,000 times or something, but I do give credit, it is better than the standard issue automation to BeamNG V6 engine if you were to export the vehicle as is. It does make it unique and have its own characteristics of having a custom-made engine based off the Mitsubishi 6G73. And also, I will link the engine recording in the description below and in the pinned comment to get a download of the engine recordings from the low end to the high end, including a couple of starter sounds, both the start and loop portion, if you were to somehow implement a custom starter sound to an automation vehicle like this, which I've unfortunately have not been able to do it due to the technical limitations of the game. And for those who are interested in this type of content, please be sure to like and subscribe so you won't miss out on any videos like this in the future, and also check out my social media down in the description below. So this is TRIZE rising up, and signing out.